Great to be here. Yeah, my name's Rob Chevelle. I'm in a band called Lit Soul, and we're based out of Los Angeles. And we have a slogan, is we advocate liberty in the modern age. It's cool to get up here and actually talk about something that's, you know, that I'm into. I'm going to talk a few minutes about some stuff, and, you know, lend an ear. People listen up, you know, and that's what this event's about. I put a lot of stuff in my lyrics, my poetry, and my website and that kind of stuff, because I think it's important. Back in 430 BC, a senator named Persilis said, "Just because you do not take interest in politics does not mean politics does not take an interest in you." So basically, Lit Soul, we've been playing a lot. Played the House of Blues last Monday night. That was really cool. We actually played here about a month ago. It's kind of different being up here with no guitar and no band, but our drummer couldn't make it tonight, so I got asked to do this, and I'm happy to do this. So basically, I'm a constitutionalist, a libertarian. That means I believe in the Constitution. I think it's being burned today, basically. There's no difference really between Democrats and Republicans these days. If you're looking at the agenda and actually what they're voting for, they want big government, big wars, bailouts, burn the Constitution, fear, 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 terror, 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 etc. They want us basically to give up our liberty for security, and that is enslavement. They want our guns and they want our gold. What's true that I see is instead of the left and right of what they try to put us in the media and propaganda, the left and right really is liberty and tyranny, and that's really the two ends. And there may be gradual things, you know, in there, but obviously liberty is the best. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. So the United States was actually founded as a republic and not a democracy. The difference is in a republic operates on the rule of law. A democracy actually operates off the rule of the mob. That means if 51% of the people tonight wanted to hang that dude over there, that's democracy, believe it or not. We live in extraordinary times. Everything I say here tonight is fact, in my opinion, and I will say if it is actually my opinion, actually, at that point. This information is out there. Look in public records, documents, government documents. They actually incriminate themselves, video, scientific proof, etc. The USA is being dismantled as I stand here and as you are here tonight. Jobs shipped overseas, small businesses is being stomped out, big corporations and the banks are going for total monopoly. That is corporatism and socialism that leads to communism. History repeats itself over and over, and too many people's memories are very short, or they watch too much TV. The American dollar has gone from 100 pennies to 2 pennies since 1913 when the Federal Reserve Bank came to be. The government is even taking over the food chain. The FBI, the FDA, SWAT teams are raiding independent farmers, raw milk farmers, Amish farmers. These are people's lives with machine guns. The government-owned Monsanto is spending billions to take over all the food and kill real food and replace it with GMOs and plastic. Pretty much all food in stores is now made out of labs and not actual farms but factories. Notice that the next time you walk into 7-Eleven or Ralph's. Cancer and diabetes is an all-time high, obesity, chemtrails in the sky, poison fluoride in our water. Education has been deliberately dumbed down. Education has been deliberately dumbed down. Over-the-counter drugs and the dead-end science, quote-unquote, called psychiatry and psychology are funded by billions by the government for no result. Entertainment is totally controlled. A lot of us musicians know that. When is the last time you saw a movie that actually woke you up?
Clockwork Orange!
All right.
1974, by the way.
Bailouts that are robbing the American people and paying off the bankers. Immigration out of control. There is a plan well in progress to make the United States a third world country, and you are right in the middle of it right now. Unconstitutional wars, none of them are actually declared by Congress and therefore are actually illegal per the Constitution. A lot of people don't know that. So we are sold. There is a definition of propaganda that I want to read. Check this out. This is like when you watch the TV, movies, commercials during the movies, you know, the radio, all that kind of stuff. Propaganda is the use of words and messages to mold the public mind to accept falsehood as truths and divert the attention of the masses away from important subjects and toward those with little or no significance, the basis of mind control. Propaganda leads to the acceptance of subtle or overt force and collectivism and directs the public to act against its own self-interest. All these wars are not about freedom or spreading democracy. I'm going to say some heavy shit here, okay? So wake up, listen. Okay? All these wars are not about freedoms or spreading democracy, quote unquote. They are about total control and taking over the world like a monopoly game. The Middle East is full of oil, minerals, natural resources, poppy plants, gold. The most common denominator about all of these countries we are invading is they all said no to the World Bank. They have their own gold and their own money and their own oil. So the media is controlled and it is hyped to get the public's opinion that there are tyrants over there that are suppressing all their people, and the USA is coming to rescue them. In the meantime, the USA is beyond broke. Those countries are now totally devastated more than they ever have been, and their leaders have been assassinated for imprisonment with no trial, replaced by puppets of the World Bank. Inconceivable amount of innocent women and children have been killed, maimed, and lives destroyed. Have you seen the continual deformed babies from depleted uranium from the bombs and drones? You think about that if it was your family. But now they are answerable to the World Bank, who owns those countries. But yet American people, in the most part, cheer on the brave women and children in the military. I like to say, my father had a Purple Heart and a Navy Cross, and he was a Navy SEAL. Okay? So I'm a Navy brat, right? So I'm not coming from some left, like, I don't know what the fuck is going on, okay? So, there you go on that. This is a military-industrial complex. Google that. Bankers and politicians, once again, using good men and women as pawns. But why do the men and women buy it? Look at a map and find out where there are actually military bases around the world. They are swarming all over the world except China and Russia. Our current president has lied to us in his OA campaign. Not one promise has been made or kept. Any regular businessman would have been fired, sued, jailed, and for what he has done or not done. But the public are not outraged. They are so apathetic or dumbed down, they don't care. And these atrocities can go on. Actually, I looked up today, somebody sent me a message, and did you know that every president since Washington, in their term, writes an average of 6 executive orders, okay? Those are things like, okay, there's an emergency, write an executive order and handle it kind of thing. The average president wrote 6 executive orders through their term. President Obama has written 923 executive orders so far.
And nothing's been done!
Exactly. But they're scary. Look at what they are. They're shit that they do behind doors, they're not putting on the media, and all that stuff. So anyways, I'm going to bring this up, okay? By the time here, we're going to have a happy ending. I'm going to say a couple more things. Romney is no different. They are both owned by the same bankers. The election with the media has totally been fixed. An example is Ron Paul has more votes and more money, public record, donated to him by our military men and women and the younger generations and independent businessmen, okay? More than all the original 8 candidates in this past disgraceful election debate combined. That's heavy, okay? But the two who come out in the end are Obama and Romney, who again are the banker love childs. It's complete criminality and lies, and most of the public buy it. And I heard so many people say Ron Paul is not electable. And I always say to them, not electable because you buy into them too much propaganda. I have limited time up here, but question authority, question 9/11. America is being looted by some very bad pirates in suits and ties, not the good ones. Bankers, criminal politicians, and lawyers. Politicians are like pro wrestlers to the public. On camera, they are fighting each other about the small shit. Nothing of actual real importance. But off camera, they are literally having drinks with each other and laughing at you and me. Signing deals behind closed doors, taking the wealth from the people, same thing, and totally consolidating it for themselves. The so-called money has no gold backing it up since 1972. It's literally numbers in a computer in a printing press controlled by the Federal Reserve Bank that is a private company and is about as Federal Express and is run by a shadow government we don't see. What we see are the puppet heads, and we are all argue and fight about that. As soon as their term is done, they try to get another term where they just get somebody else in there to continue on the status quo. The last real president was John F. Kennedy, who wanted to expose the bankers and the shadow government, but look what happened to him.
Got sniped!
So what does this all mean? Why is this happening? Why just, don't we just want to rock out and have a good life of freedom and sanity, right? Come on, right? Fucking A, rock and roll. Let's go. Fuck was I? Here I am. Okay. So, the following is a fact, but I will say it is my opinion for the sake of argument and leave you thinking. Way back when people left England to come away from taxes, tyranny, the control of the church at that time, people came here. Now literally 236 years later, the same bankers and the same private families and the same secret groups and societies are back in control, and their end game is literally a one world government, a one world bank, and a one world army of total control. Like the book 1984. Who's read the book 1984? I think I heard somebody say that. All right.
Would you do me a favor? Just say fuck Obama.
Fuck Obama.
Yeah! Yeah!
And his banker bosses. All right, so the book 1984, that book was not written as fantasy. That book was actually written as a prediction based on documents and plans that had been in motion hardcore since 1913. And before that, when the Federal Reserve Bank was established and the IRS also was established. Look up Skull and Bones, Trilateral Commission, New World Order, Bohemian Grove, Bilderberg Group. Look up the names like Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, J.P. Morgan, actually Slayer, other bands talk about this. Somebody was saying Slayer. Dave Mustaine of Megadeth was on Infowars.com recently. The Smashing Pumpkins, Rage Against the Machine. There is an awakening, and that sends me to this next point here.
System of a Down.
Play some
System of a Down.
Slayer. Play some fucking Slayer.
Okay, in a minute, buddy.
Please, play some fucking Slayer.
Here is a real interesting quote from David Rockefeller from 20 years ago, okay? Here's what he says from 20 years ago. We are grateful to the Washington Post, the New York Times, the Time Magazine, and other great publications whose directors have attended our meetings and respected their promises and discretion for almost 40 years. That's 60 years altogether up to now. It would have been impossible for us to develop our plan for the world if we had been subject to the bright lights of publicity during those years. But the work is now much more sophisticated and almost complete, and we are prepared to march towards a world government. Okay? In their own words. Here's another one. We're on the verge of a global transformation. All we need right now is a major crisis, and the nations will accept the New World Order. Think about 9/11 on that one. Here's Henry Kissinger. Military men are dumb, stupid animals to be used as pawns in foreign policy. In summary, things are actually very simple. They're made complicated to make a bigger game or to hide things, like crimes. So basically these filthy, filthy, filthy rich families that are very few own pretty much everything you can think of. They are so rich they could solve world hunger 20 times over. But why don't they do it? Here's why. They actually fear the populace, and the only way they see fit is to have total control. The bankers now own the governments, the politicians, for the most part. There are still some good politicians and generals left, but they are becoming less. They are also very concerned that there is an awakening in mankind to their crimes, and it is now, as of the year 2012, a race of us to either wake up or to continue and be sheeple. The only real tools they have are fear, 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 terror, 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 police state, surveillances, TSA, microchips, their own financial terrorism, getting you to buy security before liberty. So be aware of any new false flag terror events that are actually created to forward the agenda. Also be aware of terror in from the financial sector. Realize that they are caused the financial disaster, and they are totally able to correct it literally overnight. It's a slow, long process to get where we are. It can be fast if we turn it around. I urge everyone to look around, speak out, do something. It takes balls to get up here. Anybody back there can talk about shit, whatever they want, okay? But if you get up and actually do something, be a real patriot, talk out, do something. Thank you, the hard way, right here in the house. In closing, support local farming, buy American, support local family businesses, stay away from corporations, all of them. Stop watching corporate news, watch independent stuff like Infowars.com, RT, Natural News, etc. One last quote for all the disbelievers. Here you go. This is Thomas Jefferson. I believe that banking institutions are more dangerous to our liberties than standing armies. If an American people ever allow private banks to control the issue of their currency, first by inflation, then by deflation, the banks and corporations will grope around the people, will deprive the people of all their property until their children wake up homeless on a continent that their founders conquered. Thomas Jefferson. Thank you. I'm Rob Chevelle, Lit Soul. Check out litsoul.com. Thank you.